My oaths betray each other till there's nothing left to keep.
Only Us by Miracle of Sound. Alright, and welcome back to the Shardbreaker podcast. This is episode 2, our final episode of Edgedancer, where we did chapters 10 through 20. I am Midnight, your host, and I am here with Mythic.
Shardbreaker, by the way.
Shardbreaker.
Shart. It's Shart.
I'm here with Mythic and Darkness.
Hi.
So we're gonna
So dejected. Love it.
We're going to start with Chapter 10, which starts with Lift back at the orphanage as she's watching the children play in the open area outside of the main doors. A whole group of laughter spren were surrounding them. Most of the children seemed different in the head or had missing limbs, and they were younger than Lift had expected. The older people she had seen the day before watched the children as they chatted happily. The stump came by with a cart of Clemma bread rolls, and Lift got in line for one. She was told to move off to the side, and the stump made sure all the children got one before giving one to Lift and telling her it was her second of 3 meals that she would get. So what do you think about the stump making sure that all the other children had food before giving any to Lift?
Well, Lift is a new kid in town. She don't get shit.
Yeah.
Right, so is that other kid, but whatever.
Well, I thought he kept coming back, or much of it.
No,
Yeah,
he
keeps coming back and
stayed. He stayed at the
He's
orphanage.
stupid. Yeah, because he's stupid. Remember, like he got a head wound.
He had a brain injury, and yeah.
He had a head wound that
Pretty
he
sure-
self-inflicted on himself.
Okay, that he definitely was faking.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, after all, he somehow magically got fixed all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, no. So Lift wasn't allowed to stay in the orphanage because she didn't actually have anything wrong with her, but the other kid was allowed to actually stay in the orphanage, which is why he was still there. So as Lift finds a spot to sit and eat, Wendell tells Lift that he doesn't believe the reason she had been giving for leaving Azir. He says that she seemed to like the new clothing they had given her, and that she had enjoyed hiding from the viziers. Lift, however, thinks about how much pressure is put on Gox in the palace, even if things weren't as expected of her. Lift tells Wendell she's avoiding responsibilities, but Wendell doesn't buy it, as she's currently chasing down Darkness, a mad herald who is hanging out with the assassin in white. Lift then says that her mother told her to travel a lot while she was still young. Wendell then asks what Lift really wants, and Lift replies that she asked the Night Watcher for her not to change, as so much around her was constantly changing. Lift can't look at the children playing in the area around her, as she could tell that she had grown taller over the years. She looks around at the children and the people wandering the streets, and thinks that they all seem to know what to do. She had gotten good at hunting for food for herself, but if she didn't have to worry about food, then she didn't know what to do with herself. A boy with a half-shaved head then comes over to Lift, asking for the second half of her bread roll. Lift gives it to him and recognizes him as the drooling boy whose mother had left him the day before. The boy asks about his mother coming back, but Lift replies that she doesn't think the woman will. The boy says his name is Mick and asks if they're friends, but Lift replies that they aren't. What do you think about Lift not knowing what to do with her life when food wasn't her main priority?
Yeah, valid.
That sounds like me.
Yeah, right, valid.
Also, what was your first impression of Mick seeming to get a little bit better here?
That Lift had healed him, like she thought, but
Mm-hmm. Do you think that too, Darkness?
Well, at that point, I was trying to debate to see if it was actually a fucking head injury or if he was faking it, but
If he was faking it like the stump thought.
no. But like, I was like, no, like he's actually hurt, and I said it last session, right? And then right here, this made me be like, are you like lying? Like, what's happening? But
you were second guessing it. Oh my gosh.
yeah, but like, I decided, it's gonna, just go as he really is injured.
So
Yeah, and then Lift healed him,
Lift definitely is the one who healed him. Definitely not the stump.
Definitely.
So the stump then comes over, telling Lift she only gets one more meal, and that she should take Mick with her when she goes, as the stump is sure the kid is faking. Stump then leaves, and Mick says he misses his mother, but Lift says it's good, because at least they can remember their mothers, unlike some others. The stump then begins herding the children back inside, as Lift smacks a crumling that is crawling near her. But it dodges, and she almost thinks it's laughing at her, as it scuttles away. Wendell then asks Lift what she wants to do, but Lift thinks that deciding on things is hard, as she usually just does things instead of thinking it through. She notices the old guy she had spoken to the other day nearby, and she wanders over to him, asking how he knows what to do. He asks her what she means specifically, and she replies that she doesn't know how he knows what to do with his time, how to be human. The man replies that he knows no better than she does how to be human. Wonder why he doesn't know how to be human.
Mm.
The man goes on about death a bit and calls the city an organism. He then calls Lift an ear, not exactly, but close to it. Lift then asks what he is, and the man replies that he changes moment by moment. Lift doesn't seem pleased by his rambling. Before Lift can leave, the man asks what Lift will make of this city, and what her own city of a body is filled with. Palaces or slums? Lift replies that he would be confused by her insides, as at least slums know what they were built for. So do you agree that Lift is an ear, if she was part of the human body?
I don't know. I honestly don't understand the whole thing.
Didn't we go over this?
Yeah,
we
but I
went
don't
over when she was a
understand the whole
nose.
thing.
She said previously she was a nose, and now he's saying, oh, I think you're actually an ear.
Did you listen, I guess?
Yeah. She listens to people.
She's not very good at that, but yeah.
So chapter 11. We move forward.
wait. The fact that she's an ear is funny because she has that selective,
Hearing,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah.
with Wendell.
But you're an ear, don't worry.
She's an ear for everyone but Wendell.
Yeah, okay. Because I think she's listened to how many people in this?
She's
Right.
still a lot of people. She remembers a lot of like conversations and people's names and everything.
Yeah,
You
but she
pay
doesn't
attention to
listen to them.
She seems to actually listen because she does remember things they said, even if she pretends she's not listening to them.
By listen, we mean follow through.
Yes.
Oh,
Don't do this. Stay here. Nope, not doing that. I'm going my own way.
fair. So chapter 11. We move forward in time a bit to Wendell stating that Lift doesn't seem interested in progressing their relationship. He states that Lift needs to let the words into her soul, him into her soul, as that is what the Skybreakers are doing, and that is how they get shard blades. Lift states that the only thing she knows how to do is steal Darkness's lunch, and Wendell realizes she means the person Darkness is going after. So what do you think about Wendell saying that you need to let the words and your spren into your soul?
Say the words. Same thing that Syl was telling Kaladin. Say the words, Kaladin. Say the
Mhm.
words. I think of all of the people in this entire book series, she's so far my favorite.
Is she? I love Lift too. I'm
Yeah, I
glad.
think she's my favorite only because of what she does to Wendell later when she says the third phrase or whatever, and she makes him a fork.
Well, she makes him a rod first. She makes him a fork later.
No, she makes him a fork. That's all I cared about. I didn't give a shit
The
about all
shard
the other
fork.
weapons. She made him a fork so she could eat. I was like, that's totally left. Yep.
Lift tends to be a very controversial character. Some people get really annoyed by her, and some people really love her. So I'm glad to hear that you love her. I
think
enjoy
she's
her
my
a lot.
favorite so far. She's my favorite of the Radiants, that's for sure.
Over Zeth.
That's not a Radiant.
Zeth's gonna be a Skybreaker.
No, he's not a Radiant.
He's training to be a Skybreaker.
Yeah, so and darkness is the main bad guy.
Yeah, but he's a herald.
Which, yeah, okay. Yeah, he's probably the herald who left, to be honest.
Well, they all did.
Yeah, I know. No, what? No, they died.
All but Taln. No, only Taln died.
They all died. They all died. Nobody's left. They're all
Okay.
dead.
Okay.
The
So
way she just literally went, no, only Tom died.
well, that was proven at the start of the League of Kings.
No.
Mhm.
They're all dead.
I mean, they all died at some point, but the last Desolation, Taln was the only one who died.
Nah, they all died. They're all dead.
So they end up in a garden, which Wendell is not pleased by how the garden is organized. Lift, however, likes it, and Wendell seems slightly happy to see the plants, or at least fruit plants, and not just random vines. Lift then mentions that the people here like information, and asks Wendell what they would do with writings when they were done with them. Wendell replies that they would store them somewhere. Lift then goes over to a middle-aged woman on a bench and asks to trade information. The woman doesn't want anything to do with Lift, but Lift replies that she'll go away if the woman tells her where people will store information. And the woman points
Good
down
trade.
a street.
I said that's a good trade.
Yeah. The woman points down a street towards a bunker-like building. Lift is surprised she hadn't noticed the building before. So yeah, what did you think about Lift trying to trade information to find out where she needed to go?
I mean, if it works, it works.
Right?
And then we move to chapter 12, which starts with Lift climbing up the side of one of the alleyways, using Wendell until she gets to the farms above. The farmers are working, even though usually during the weeping would be a time to rest for them, since the rains would wash away any seeds. The farmers seem worried that it might rain tomorrow and wash away all their hard work, or it might never rain again and the city would use up all of its water. Lift makes her way towards the central bulbous building, Wendell noting how all the streets seemed to be angled away from the center so that water would flow out of the city. Wendell then asks what Lift's plan is, and she replies that she's just going to have Wendell read everything in the building to find anything weird, and will point to the person Darkness is looking for. Wendell states that it's impossible for him to read everything in there, and Lift gives in, saying that they need to get in there before Darkness wants the person killed, and that she needs to steal some expensive-looking clothing. So what do you think about Lift's plan to try and find information so she can find the Surge Binder?
found it hilarious that she has Wendell doing all of the reading.
Yeah, if only she had learned to read like the viziers had tried to teach her.
Nah, Wendell's the reader. It's all good. And then the other people later, they're all the readers. Nobody cares.
All the
She can do her own
scribes.
thing. Yep. They all can read for her. And then write notes and give whatever the span read or whatever it is. Yeah.
What do you think,
I'm telling
Darkness?
you, right here, right now, just saying that there are readers or whatever, like that gave me flashbacks to every single like group that's been named and every single like category. Like I'm not gonna remember all of these people, bro.
That's okay.
Yeah, we
I'm
have
pretty
the
sure I've
we have
forgotten
the
like half of them
listeners,
already.
we have the listeners, we have the readers, and then we have the normal people.
And then we have the other stuff.
Then we have the Sleepless.
Yeah, exactly. So many things.
So we get to chapter 13, where we skip forward to Lift wearing soft, silky clothing like those she had been given in Azir. She told an overweight scribe that she was a friend of the Asish emperor. The scribe doesn't seem to believe her and says she's wasting her time. Lift replies that people here don't seem to do much, even though there are a lot of concentration spread around. The scribe was a fairly important person, and Lift had gotten in to see her by not talking, but she'd been forced to talk to the woman. She told her that she could prove that she knew the emperor if the scribe just used one of her span reads. So what do you think of Lift trying to prove that she knew the emperor?
Was probably her best thing, to be honest.
Oh, that's actually smart, yeah.
Yeah, best bet. I know the Emperor, guys. Sure you do. And
Yeah,
then
you should listen to me. I know him. And they're like, uh-huh.
But also the fact that you can see how bad being like that in general affects her progress and things.
That's why Wendell's like, you should really listen to the viziers. If you had learned how to talk better and how to read, this might have got a lot easier. Maybe Lift needs to change.
nah. This doesn't need to change ever.
I definitely like Wendell a lot more than I like her.
Phil?
No, just
No, Lift.
Oh, then
Lift.
Lift? Oh.
Wendell's great. I like their relationship, how they're like very much opposites.
I like that later Wendell kind of realizes that if he had gone with the other person, he'd be dead.
Wendell has a lot of character growth here. He's like, you know what? I like working with you. I like what we're doing here, and I'm okay with being a shard weapon if it's a forge.
I don't remember him ever saying he liked it, but okay.
Well, he said maybe he'd be okay with being a sword if it was just for decoration
But
purposes.
but he didn't say he liked it.
So the scribe starts to gesture for Lift to leave, but another scribe comes in and whispers in the woman's ear. The scribe sighs and asks Lift to name the viziers that she knows, and Lift begins listing off the different nicknames she has for each vizier, because of course she doesn't know any of their
Pig Lips
names.
is my favorite one or something like that. Yeah.
The scribe left the room, and Lift overheard her and another talking about how Lift matched the description that the guard captain had given.
Oh
Worried-
God.
Worried about how quickly she'd get caught, Lift goes over to the span reads and has Wendell find the one that goes to the Asia's palace. Once Wendell pointed it out and Lift takes it over to the table and sets it up like she had seen others do, she then tells Wendell what she wants to write. Suddenly the scribes and some guards come back into the room, and Lift switches the span reads so the palace can write back as she tries to escape out of the room. She uses her awesomeness, but the guards close the door before she can escape. She slides around the room a bit before getting tackled by one of the scribes and sees the palace writing back, and tells the guards to stop, to get other span reads to the palace so they can get confirmation. Wendell reads out the message that states that Lift is to be treated with the utmost respect and that Gox will pay for any damages caused by her. Lift happily says that the guards need to do what she says, and when they ask what she wants, she asks what they are having for lunch. What do you think about Gox helping
That's what
Lift
I want.
out?
Food. What's the question? What do we think about Gox?
Gox helping Lift out.
Oh well, I mean, it's kind of what I figured was gonna happen.
Gox is a good friend.
He kind of owes her a debt, so
Yeah, I mean, she kind of did save his life.
just kind of.
Yeah.
How old is he?
Gox, I think,
Old enough.
is like a young to mid-teenager. I think he's supposed to be somewhere between like 14 and 15-ish.
Interesting.
So I'm pretty sure in Lift's interlude, they say that he's not much older than her. He's like a young teen or something. He's definitely not an adult. So chapter 14, we switch to 3 hours later to Lift eating pancakes while scribes look for information that she needs. One of the scribes reads and writes out a conversation between Lift and Gox. Gox mentions that he is worried as the red storm seems to be real. Lift also has the scribe call her your pancakefulness when addressing her. The scribe then reads out how they are worried because the storm came around the planet to the western edge of the continent, meaning it wouldn't blow itself out. It's slower than a high storm, but people aren't prepared for a storm coming from the opposite direction. Lift then mentions food and how people will still need to worry about what to eat the next day. Gox also mentions being concerned about how much the Alethi seem to know about the storm and whether they caused it. Plus they're concerned about what the Alethi said about the Parshman and the strange spren in the storm. So what do you think about the way that the Asia's people view Dalinar and the Alethi?
It's pretty valid because they seem separated, but also I feel like it's way too secluded than it should be. Like you get information, but it's not the right amount of information that you're supposed to be getting.
I just think it's really interesting because like when we've most of our point of view characters have all been kind of around Dalinar or like are Dalinar. So to us it's like, oh, Dalinar's this great person. He's like the better of all the Alethi High Princes. He's such a great person. He's like pretty much really trustworthy. But then when you get these outside perspectives, it's like, no, Dalinar's past really comes back to bite him, and like everyone's like, he is like the least trustworthy person. He could have caused the storm. Like he's like absolutely evil to everyone outside of like our main character perspectives, which I always find like really interesting to see like how people view him outside of kind of our main cast of characters that we usually see.
Sorry, I'm back. What's up?
I was talking about how like how it's very interesting how like we see Dalinar in like the first two books versus how when we get like this outside perspective of how like the Aegis people and stuff view Dalinar, like it's very different, and like it's interesting to see like the differences between other characters' views of Dalinar and like Alethi people's views of Dalinar.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't seem to be the most loved person everywhere. That's
well, he
for
was
sure.
basically a warlord in his younger days. Like before we ever meet him, he basically went around like killing and pillaging like all sorts of places under his brother's leadership.
And now look at him. He's a pussy.
Well,
yeah, so it's like very interesting how like
We
everyone's
should
like,
all just hold hands, guys.
yeah, Dalinar's like, I'm trying to bring people together. I'm trying to help people out by giving them this information. Everyone's like, Dalinar is evil. You can't trust him. He probably started this fucking storm.
Did though. Well,
I mean, technically, yeah.
hey, they're not wrong. He did.
I mean, technically, Ash and I started the storm.
No, he definitely started
Well, she
it.
just retaliated. You know? Well, technically, no, you're right.
Actually, technically, Venli was the one who found Stormform, so technically Venli
Who
is
the
the one
fuck
behind
is
it all.
really?
The sister, the scholar sister of Ash and I. She's technically the one behind this all.
Yeah, she's a mastermind for sure.
So Lif then asks the scribes what they've found so far in their research, but they don't really know what strange things Lif wants them to look for. She tells them to find strange things like her as she glows for them and accidentally makes the seeds on her pancake sprout. The scribes stare at Lif in awe, but she hurries them back to work. Gox tries to persuade Lif to come back to the palace and not be on the streets, but Lif says she's still deciding what she's going to do. She then is told that the stump does seem to be doing some sort of money laundering, although it's mentioned that she's trading for lesser spheres, possibly to launder criminal money that she is receiving. Lif suggests spending all of the stump's money on soup and then giving her half of it, but the guard declines that. Lif then thinks of all the strange things the scribes have found in the city, but most have no witnesses, so they seem like simple rumors and superstitions. Lif wanted to go check on all of them, but Wendell told her that would take too long and they needed to keep looking at reports. Wendell then also tells Lif that she needs to pick one of the reports to look into, but Lif can't make a decision. Suddenly, a scribe came in, saying that the prince had said that everyone needs to get to storm bunkers as the Everstorm would be there in 2 hours, and that the parshmen needed to be locked up or exiled out into the storm.
Oh my god, the fucking when they said, "Oh yeah, we'll just throw them out into the storm," I'm like, that's such a terrible idea.
Yeah, that'll work out great.
Right.
Seems like a great idea, right, guys? Definitely not going to cause any Voidbringers. Just
Even if it didn't, that's still a terrible idea. You're throwing.
yeah, the poor parshmen. I mean, yeah, Lift, I think in a minute here is kind of like, I feel bad for the parshmen. They shouldn't just be like thrown out into the storm.
Yeah, as she doesn't hide herself. Yeah.
So Lift tries to convince the scribes to stay and keep helping her, but they refuse. So what do you think about the scribes following the Prince of Tashikk over the Aegis Emperor, even though technically the Emperor is supposed to be the highest authority?
Well, I mean, it's Gaz. Come on.
It's Kaz?
Yeah, it's Gaz.
Okay.
That's not that person's name, is it? What's the person's name that I'm
Gox?
thinking of? No, that's the actual person's name. There's somebody else I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Gaz is the one with the one eye who's, like, used to work with the Bridgemen.
No, that's not who I'm thinking of. I don't know who I'm thinking of.
I don't know who you're thinking of.
The person they're listening to now instead of the Emperor, right?
Yeah.
That's the person in charge in the city they're in?
Yeah, so basically how I think they've explained before that it works is Azir is a country, but it also technically runs a bunch of the surrounding countries. It's kind of,
Right.
I think, like the United Kingdom, where it's like they have like there's like Scotland, Ireland, Wales, and England, right? Well, technically just Northern Ireland, not the main Ireland. But anyway, so there's all these countries that are under them, but technically they're all under like the English monarchy, right? So that's kind of what the Azir Empire is. But they all also have their own governments, and so like they kind of work together as they're under them, but they also kind of don't. It's like a weird political thing where Tashik has like their own prince and royal family, but they technically are also under the emperor.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like there's obviously a lot of like nuance to that because they're like, nah, if the prince says this, we're doing it. We're definitely gonna listen to you, Lift, as the emperor told us to, but that doesn't mean we're gonna do what you say.
Yeah, we'll listen, but we just won't do it. Just like you, you know? Yeah, just like you listen to everybody, but you don't do anything anybody says.
So one scribe tries to lead Lift to a bunker, but she runs off, taking off her fancy clothing until she's in her normal clothing that was underneath. Lift wanders the building, trying to decide what to do. Wendell mentions that he wishes he was gardening boots, as apparently he had a plan to do a boot garden. But that wouldn't be helpful, so he was glad he was here.
He gets
helping.
weirder and weirder by every chapter.
Lift then thinks of trying to follow the woman that had been with Darkness, and Wendell suggests that she might also have been here searching the records. And then we get to chapter 15. So we switch to Lift, finding the overweight scribe she had first met here, and the woman knew of the person Lift was asking about, giving a room number and saying that she had been working for 2 weeks. Lift excitedly thanks the woman before running off, thinking about how unfair it was to leave the parchment out in the storm, even if they were potentially Voidbringers, as Wendell seemed to think. She uses Wendell to climb up 2 floors, and then hears the woman who had been with Darkness arguing with the man that had also been there. Seth then walks by, talking quietly to Nightblood and leaving a faint after image in his wake. So what do you think about this after image that Seth leaves behind as he moves?
Sounds cool.
What do you think, Darkness?
Am I tripping, or did we not pin the wheel for the radiant powers and stuff?
Thought we had.
I thought so too.
What happened?
We wanted to look at the Radiant Wheel. Back up and find it. Why do you think there's something on the Radiant Wheel that relates to the after image thing?
I was just wondering, because I didn't remember his powers.
His powers.
Yeah.
Well, I don't think we know if he actually has Skybreaker powers yet. It seems like he's working under Nail, but we don't know if he has a Spren yet or not.
I'm gonna assume that he does. We haven't seen what Division does, right?
No, we have not seen what Division does because we haven't met a Dustbringer, and we've really only seen the Skybreakers like flying around. We haven't really seen their other power.
Yeah. I'm gonna say it's got to do with that.
So if you remember, I think Zeth mentions it very briefly at the end of Words of Radiance. But so what this basically is, because I want to hear your guys' thoughts before I told you. Basically what it is when Darkness or Nail reattaches Zeth's soul to his body, he didn't do it quite right. So what the after image you're seeing is actually his soul trailing behind his body.
I wonder if like that means that if you cut his body, his soul won't get damaged with a sharp blade.
That's an interesting question.
Yeah, it's one that'll probably get answered because the way you said that.
But yeah,
And then what do you just like have to slice the fucking shadow of him or whatever?
But yeah, so basically, Darkness just failed to properly connect Zeth's soul back. So
Oh
it's
no, a
thought
hair
you
was
were-
failing.
I thought you were speaking to me.
No.
I was like, I failed to do
Nail.
what?
Nail failed to properly reattach Zeth's soul to his body.
Did not.
He fucked it up.
Nuh-uh.
Fucked it up, Darkness. So Lift watches as the 2 unnamed Skybreakers go into a room, and Zeth sits outside the door, guarding it. Lift tries to figure out how she'd get inside, but Wendell suggests he can go in and listen to them, potentially without being seen. He's scared, but insists he can do it. She waits impatiently, thinking that not everyone could be like her, and that she had been using her age as an excuse to be impatient and stupid, and not know what to do. Just as she was about to try to run in and check on Wendell, he hurries back out to her. The Skybreakers leave the room a moment later, and Lift hides in the shadows. However, as Zeth moves past her, he pauses, squints, and throws a spear towards her, which reveals Lift. So what do you think of Wendell's bravery to go listen in on the Skybreakers when there's a chance he could have been seen?
Well, he's so brave.
I think he's brave. Wendell's getting character
Yeah,
growth.
and then he said he got so fucking scared he didn't even whimper.
Mm-hmm.
So brave.
He's doing his
Well,
best.
I mean, bravery isn't doing something you're not afraid to do, or not being afraid to do things. It's being afraid but still doing it anyways.
Exactly.
So, I mean, he is brave. Stupid, but brave.
He's not fearless. He's brave.
Exactly.
The
And he's
fearless. Oh my
stupid.
god, that's another group that's gonna pop up.
He's been hanging around Lift a little too much. Yeah. He became stupid.
Damn. So Lift freezes, unsure what to do as Zeth pulls his sword an inch out of the sheath, allowing black smoke to come out. Lift feels nauseous, but is surprised when Zeth puts the sword away again and leaves her alone. Lift and Wendell talk for a moment about how scared they both were before.
Yeah, I love the reasoning though. It's so funny.
Yeah, we get that later.
Uh-huh.
I guess next chapter. Yeah, they talk about how scared they both were before Lift asks about what the Skybreakers had talked about. Wendell admits he doesn't really know who the Surgebinder is, but that they seem to know and are going to go find the person now. So Lift and Wendell agree to follow them. So at this point, what did you think about Zeth leaving Lift alone?
I don't know. I don't remember what I thought. I just liked the actual explanation of why he did.
Did you have any thoughts, Darkness, about why Zeth would leave her alone at first before you find out the next chapter?
I generally just thought he was defying what's his name?
Nail?
Me.
Nail? He's defying you, Darkness?
Yeah.
How dare he?
Nin, Sun,
No,
God.
it's okay. I like it. There's a bit of a challenge there.
So we get chapter 16, where Lift struggles to follow the Skybreakers, but somehow is able to get through the building and back out into the streets, which were eerily empty. Once outside, the female Skybreaker sucks in some stormlight and begins to fly, causing Lift to wonder why she couldn't fly. The two
Yeah,
unnamed
right? You can slide against the ground, but you can't fly. Interesting.
The two unnamed Skybreakers fly off, leaving Zeth behind as he refuses to fly into that storm again. Once they are gone, Zeth turns to where Lift was hiding and asks if she is the one Darkness is looking for. She replies that she is nobody, but Zeth says that Darkness kills nobodies, unlike him who kills kings and hears them screaming in his head. Lift asks why he isn't going to kill her, and Zeth replies that his sword likes her. She's like, I'd like your sword too?
Yeah. Yep.
So
Nightblood likes her. I love it.
What do you think about Nightblood liking Lift?
Hey man, chaos likes chaos, I guess.
God, imagine if Lift had Nightblood. Fucking chaos.
I mean, I'm already imagining Seth with Nightblood, so
I mean, he doesn't seem to be using Nightblood. He's just carrying him around.
I know. I'm kind of curious if the reasoning behind that is the same reasoning that can't remember the dude's name now, but
Vasher.
yeah, Vasher didn't really use Nightblood.
I'm assuming it's just because you don't want to kill no more, but you know.
So Lift then asks where the other Skybreakers are going, and Zeth says they're going to find a man that people have seen disappear and change faces, so they think he's a Lightweaver. Apparently,
When they said that, I was like, wait, so he is in this book? I was like, oh, since what? I thought Midnight said he wasn't in this book.
Who?
Hoyt.
Oh,
No,
was like,
no, I'm
totally
like,
Hoyt.
I'm like right on your spot too, because I was like,
Yeah,
wait.
I was like, what? The man who can change faces. Definitely Hoyt.
no, something much creepier.
Yeah.
The unhoid.
Apparently, Nail got approval from the Prince of Tashik to kill any Surgebinder who doesn't have special approval. Lift then states that Darkness is wrong about the Voidbringers not being back, and Zeth agrees, although he states he is mad, but he thinks Nail is as well. Zeth then reveals that the old man Lift had spoken to before was a supposed Lightweaver, and Lift says she needs to go try to help him, even if she isn't sure she can fight off the two Skybreakers and a Herald. So what do you think about the Skybreakers thinking that old guy was a Lightweaver?
When they said
They
it
do.
was, I'm sorry, when they said it was a Lightweaver, I was kind of like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, there's only one of those, you know.
There should be only one of those.
So we then get chapter 17, where Lift becomes awesome and starts sliding on her feet until she falls and tumbles along the ground. Her awesomeness keeps her
And then slides with her face, you know.
Yep. Well, she slides with her crotch first, apparently, and it hurts.
Ugh.
Then she slides with her face. Her awesomeness keeps her from getting too injured, so she ignores Wendell's worries as she gets onto her feet again. She needed to be fast to catch up with the flying Skybreakers. She could imagine how easily she could move through the city, but she was unable to replicate that, and she fell onto her face. She tries again, but clips a corner and sprawls onto the ground again, eventually giving in to just running with her awesomeness, keeping her from growing tired. She didn't think she'd be fast enough, though. What do you think about Lift's continued struggles to use her sliding ability properly?
Hey man, sometimes we all struggle.
She needs to get into like ice skating or something.
Yep. So Lift eventually makes it to the orphanage, but she'd run out of awesomeness and her stomach was rumbling. She hears a low scream coming from the alleyway, and she begins to walk towards it, but the stump comes out and drags Lift into the orphanage. The stump complains about Lift screaming in the alley, but does go to get Lift her last meal as she was promised. Lift reluctantly sits down with the other children, listening to them whisper their fears. She tells Wendell that what she wants is a little bit of control over her life, and then listens to the children again. Suddenly Lift notices Mick, who asks Lift about his mother and how he shouldn't be here. He also says he doesn't remember the last few weeks very well. She wonders how she healed this boy without realizing, thinking that she didn't think she could heal people with those sorts of injuries. But maybe because he hadn't been born with it, she was able to. The stump then gives Lift some cold pancakes, and when she turns around to scold a child, Lift sneaks out of the orphanage to go find the man so she could remember him. So what did you think about the stump seeming to care for Lift by keeping her out of the storm and feeding her, even though she's really annoyed by Lift?
I figured she was
Kind
that
heart. I think that's the only reason that she gets saved later.
Then we get chapter 18, which is my favorite chapter. This is when
Why?
it's the whole horror chapter. I
Mm.
love the horror chapter. Been waiting for it. Lift
Yeah.
wanders into the alleyway, looking at the shanties and wondering how they survived high storms. Apparently the people who lived in them didn't have much faith in them either, as they had all gone to storm bunkers instead of hiding in their homes like the people who lived in the buildings carved out of the stone walls. She creeped through the shadows until she stumbled over a body. Thinking that she will remember the man, she kneels down to try and make out his face. However, she realizes that the clothing is wrong, and when lightning flashes, it's revealed the body is of the female Skybreaker. Scuttling noises can be heard all around Lift. She jumps back and discovers the body of the male Skybreaker as well. So were you surprised to find the two Skybreakers dead?
Yes.
It was the horde dude that killed them, right?
Yeah, Arklow kills them.
I wasn't surprised to find them dead. I was surprised to find them not dead to Darkness's hand.
Hmm.
Because I was like, you remember last session? I was like, oh, if they fail to become this like a appropriate Skybreakers, he's probably gonna kill them. You know?
But nope.
But
Hordling man killed them.
Hordling.
He calls them hordlings.
You look like a hordling.
The voice of the old man can be heard as he talks about how there are a group of people who believe that when you sleep, a new soul enters the body. They believe that memories and culture are inherited by the new soul from the previous soul as it leaves the body. The man states that surprisingly, the people who think they only live one day don't cause chaos in their society, but live as everyone else does. A flash of lightning then lights him up, and Lift sees him naked and missing several parts of himself, although there is no blood. Kremlings crawl up his legs, and thousands of other tiny Kremlings climb all over the walls of the alleyway. As the man speaks, the Kremlings reform the man's body, each having a tiny piece of skin or an eyeball on the back of them. He states that he is not worried about whether a new soul takes over his body, as he does not sleep, at least not all of him at once. The man tells Lift not to fear him, as his people had been a friend of the old Radiants, since their war is also his war. Lift says that he killed the two Skybreakers, but the man states it was self-defense. Although then he considers it might not be self-defense, as they couldn't have killed him. So what do you think of this creature that is made of tiny Kremlings?
I just want to make it clear, it totally was self-defense, because just because someone is not able to kill you,
Doesn't mean
still
they're not
able to harm
attacking you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But also, that's kind of cool, and I want to know what creature he is.
Well, he tells Lift he's called the Sleepless.
Yeah, but that doesn't tell me what kind of creature he is.
Yeah, sleepless, that's the creature.
I'm a sleepless.
Yeah, I know. Aren't we all?
Oh my god, Darkness is asleep.
No, darkness is a herald. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
No,
Darkness is a herald.
He's the sleepless herald.
Oh, okay.
So the old man then says that they watch the assassin, the surgeon, the liar, and the high prince. However, the others don't watch Lift, and that may be a mistake. The fake old man took out a sphere and bathed the alleyway in light, revealing that Lift had backed herself into a dead end. She glances at the walls, thinking she should climb out. However, the old man states if she leaves, Darkness will kill the person she wants to save. He says that Nail knew to stay away from him and his kind, and that he was not the person Darkness was looking for. So before I continue, I want to read you something from the back of The Way of Kings, the back of the book. We read this when we first read The Way of Kings. And it says, I long for the days before the last desolation, the age before the heralds abandoned us and the knights radiant turned against us, a time when there was still magic in the world and honor in the hearts of men. The world became ours, and we lost it. Nothing, it appears, is more challenging to the souls of men than victory itself. Or was that victory an illusion all along? Did our enemies realize that the harder they fought, the stronger we resisted? Perhaps they saw that the heat and the hammer only make for better grade of sword, but ignore the steel long enough and it will eventually rust away. There are four whom we watch. The first is the surgeon, forced to put aside healing to become a soldier in the most brutal war of our time. The second is the assassin, a murderer who weeps as he kills. The third is the liar, a young woman who wears a soldier's mantle over the heart of a thief. The last is the high prince, a warlord whose eyes have opened to the past as his thirst for battle wanes. The world can change. Surge binding and shard wielding can return. The magics of ancient days can become ours again. These four people are key. One of them may redeem us, and one of them will destroy us. So what do you think about the fact that the back of The Way of Kings lists the four people as the surgeon, the assassin, the liar, and the high prince? And Arklow here specifically also says that they watch the assassin, the surgeon, the liar, and the high prince. Do you think that means that the back of The Way of Kings, which is written in universe, is written by the Sleepless?
Maybe.
That's crazy. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're the ones that read it, right?
Just a heavy influence in it. Yeah.
Because they could just
Have read it.
have experienced it.
It just seems interesting that they name the four people by those specific titles.
Just because they read The Way of Kings, you know? I mean, we already know who all four of the people are, so.
Now we gotta figure out which one is gonna save and which one's gonna ruin.
Yeah, Kaladin's definitely gonna ruin everybody for sure.
I'm not even against that though.
I'm not either after his past.
Also, do you agree that Lif should be considered as important as our other 4 main characters?
No. I like her and all, but no.
Honestly, yeah, she's part of like a different uh, what's it called? Faction? Not faction.
Order?
Order. There you go.
I just think it's very interesting about, and I think this is what Arklo's seeing, is the strangeness about her because of her connection to cultivation through the Night Watcher. Like, that's a bit of a weirdness to her. Like, the whole Night Watcher boon and curse thing on her, with her being, like, partially in the cognitive realm and stuff. I think that's why Arklo's considering her, like, interesting and important here. Because she's not just a Radiant. Because he doesn't mention Renarin, he doesn't mention the Stump here. He just mentions that he thinks the others who aren't watching Lift are wrong to not do that. So Lift asks the fake man what he knows about darkness and the Radiants and Voidbringers, but he just says that his siblings are more interested in those things than he is. He says that if she encounters another Sleepless, to tell them that she knows Arklo, as it might make them more sympathetic to her. He also mentions how even after so long of being alive, his Hordlings still can't perfectly fit together. He also compares the Siaamians to the Sleepless, also calling them non-human. So if you remember, the Siaamians, Axes the Collector was a Siaamian, the one that can, like, change his like skin around with the tattoos. Yeah, blue skin guy with all who like writes on his skin with tattoos and can like move them around and stuff. So do you agree that people like Axes and the Sleepless are non-human?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same. I would say it's the same as the Farshendi being non-human. I feel like they're humanoid, but it doesn't make them human.
Yeah.
Also, do you think that the Siaamians and the Sleepless are originally from Roshar?
No.
Do you think, Mythic? Are they from Roshar or are they not from Roshar?
Oh, they're from the other place. I can't remember.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of different places. Do you mean like the original human
original,
planet, Yolan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh, I was thinking about them being from the first planet.
That was the one I think Mythic made. It's technically not the first planet, it's the planet that humans originated from.
The first planet on this solar system, like the Order.
Oh, you think they're from... Oh, fuck, what was the... Is it Ash? I think Ashen's the first one, right? Because it's the hot one.
Yeah.
Ashen is the one where the floating cities and stuff are apparently, where a great cataclysm took place. So Lithium, I think they're from the same planetary system, but not from Roshar specifically. Fair enough. Lift questions the man about who the person Darkness is hunting is, but Arklo doesn't want to give away the information without a trade. The man rambles on about how special Lift is, but Lift thinks that she doesn't know what to do, and she tries to listen. She says out loud that maybe she isn't special or awesome, and she doesn't know what to do. Arklo replies that instinct will guide her. She thinks on the fears of the people she had heard in the city, and asks what if no one knows what they are doing, and they're all scared. Lift then
all scared. You're not wrong.
Lift then states that she left Azir because she was scared, and she came to Tashik because this was where her feet took her. She then states that she didn't heal Mick, and that the Stump traded spheres because they kept running out of Stormlight, and she was healing the orphan children without realizing it. That was why the Stump thought children came faking illnesses to get food, because she kept healing the ones who hadn't been born that way. Arklo just sighs and says he'll see Lift again as she runs off towards the orphanage. So had you figured out before this point that the Stump was healing the children?
I mean, I didn't know that, but I definitely remember making the comment before the last episode of that she was a shard or like a person or whatever.
Wait, what?
They're called.
Truthwatcher?
I can't think of. No, just I'm pretty sure I made the comment that she had powers. Yeah, she had powers. That's the word. Searchbinder.
Were you surprised, Darkness, or did you expect the Stump to have been healing the children?
I literally said it.
Sorry, I'm a little out of it.
I know I said it like last session. I was like, it's her, or it's the captain. It's either her or the captain. That's what I said.
They definitely try and make it seem like the captain could have it, because she's like at the beginning of the book is like, oh, I need more spheres, because all mine are done. Darkness also kind of takes note of that, like, she's like a little false kind of trail.
Yeah, red herring.
Yeah, red herring, that's the word. So we get
I'm kind of surprised that her name wasn't something like red herring. Oh,
her name was Haka.
Hakatua.
We get chapter 19, where Lift runs back to the orphanage, and as she gets there, she stops for a moment, stunned and in awe of the massive storm approaching. She then hurries inside and worries about the fact that the door is open. Sorry.
You will be blessed, my child.
Wendell says that she needs to say words, but Liv thinks that the words may not help. She could hear
Yeah, say
darkness.
words.
She could hear darkness walking upstairs, and she began glowing, calling out to him by his multiple names. Suddenly he appears at the top of the stairs, saying that he was surprised to see her come for her judgment. Lift replies that the Almighty didn't give her brains, but they gave her looks, unlike Nail. Darkness comes towards Lift, and she hurries into the kitchen, grabbing some food and then hiding in the shadows near the ceiling. When
She
darkness,
said it way better than you just did.
I
Honestly.
know, I'm sorry, can't do her justice.
Just
Justice.
Justice.
Neither can Nail, apparently.
When Darkness walks into the kitchen, she drops down behind him and just barely avoids his shard blade as he turns. Lift then hurries upstairs, explaining to Wendell that she can make Stormlight from food, but Darkness can't, so she's hoping to wear him down. She glances around for the stump. Yeah. She glances around for the stump, but can't find her or her corpse. Darkness appears at the top of the stairs, backing Lift up towards the stairs leading to the 3rd floor. So what do you think of Lift's trick to get food before trying to find the stump?
Good idea.
You think that was a good idea, Darkness?
Yes, that was a great idea.
Yeah.
I was hoping she would do it, but I didn't think she was actually going to do it.
Yeah, no, she's smarter than she kind of tries to let on.
I don't know about that, but yeah.
I don't know. I don't think the Almighty gave her brains. I think she left before then.
Liv calls Darkness emotionless, but Darkness replies that he is a perfected man.
Oh my
Mhm.
god.
Real humble, aren't you, Darkness?
Yes.
Liv tries
Perfected.
to slide past Darkness, but he lets go of his shardblade and instead stabs into her clothing with his knife, pinning her to the floor. Lift tries to pull off her overshirt as Darkness resummons his blade, but before he can slice into Lift, the stump appears and smacks Darkness with a length of wood and tells him
Darkness,
to
why are you stripping children?
and awkwardly
No.
holding them while you cry later.
Yeah, like come on, man.
But yeah, so the stump comes and smacks Darkness in the head with a board of wood, tells him to stay away from her children. Darkness easily slices through the wood and then kicks Lift down the hallway. Liv cries out as Darkness grabs the stump and throws her to the floor, causing bones to break. He then stabs her with a knife, stating that she can bleed out as she doesn't properly know how to feed on Stormlight yet. Wendell then tells Liv to say the words, but Liv replies she has already said them in her heart, and they won't matter. Instead of going to the stump or back downstairs as Darkness expected, Liv hurries back upstairs and out into the storm. Darkness tries to attack her with his shard blade, but Liv stops it with Wendell as a long rod, him sighing as he forms into it and saying ow in her head as he's hit. Liv shouts that she will listen to those who have been ignored. What do you think about Liv's 3rd ideal?
Okay, so was that how it came out in the thing? Like she said it in her head, and then it all of a sudden happened. I thought she said
No,
it
she
out
said
loud
it.
before
She
it
says
became a
that she
rod.
tells Wendell earlier that she had said it in her heart already, but then she says it out loud here to Darkness.
Yeah, but before the rod shows up, though, or was it after the rod showed up?
She says it after the rod shows up, so it's so.
Yeah, so Wendell can just become the rod without her having to say the 3rd ideal.
So what's implied here is that you technically don't need to say the words out loud as long as you fully believe in those words. So Lift had already stated her 3rd ideal, it sounds like internally, sometime probably between hanging out with Arklow and running back into the orphanage. So she figured out her 3rd ideal, which allows Wendell to become a shard,
a
a rod, and then a fork later. But allows him to become into a shard.
That's the
weapon.
best thing, honestly.
Allows him to become to form into the metal, and then she tells Darkness basically what her 3rd ideal was out loud afterwards.
And Darkness can no longer do anything because she has said her 3rd ideal.
No, he can do stuff, but she like it's fine. He's like, okay, you got 3rd ideal, good for you. But yeah, what did you guys think though of her 3rd ideal? Of like
I mean, I'm pretty sure I made the comment there was going to be something about listening, anyways, but only because
listen
that's
to
what they
those who've been
continue to
ignored.
jump, like shove down our throats.
Yep.
You should listen. You should
What's her
listen.
ideal
You should
I will listen to
to
those who have been
that
ignored.
won't. Yeah,
Listen to those who what?
Have been ignored.
ignored people. You know.
Yeah, so far her 2 ideals after the 1st ideal have been.
No, she has
I will
3 ideals.
Well, she has her 1st ideal, which is leave my room, but then she has I will remember those who have been
You gotta
forgotten.
say the whole thing every time. What
She
are
said
you
life
talking
before
about?
death, strength before weakness, journey before destination, and then she said I will remember those who have been forgotten, and I will listen to those who have been ignored.
I don't like that one.
Okay.
The last one?
Yeah.
That's why you're not an edge dancer.
Yeah. I'm just waiting for us to find out what Darkness's ideals are.
Wait till we see a will shaper.
That's what
No,
I'm trying to see.
No, I just want to know Darkness's ideals. I don't care
That's
about.
not happening.
I don't care about other edge dancers or will shapers, whatever.
Yeah, the will shapers, all their ideals are supposed to be about the philosophy that all people should be free to make their own choices.
That's valid.
They focus on personal fulfillment, radical self-expression, and freeing those who are captive.
Yeah, I will protect myself, by the way.
Apparently their philosophies are generally considered the opposite of the Skybreakers, as they tend to believe that any laws are a form of oppression, as opposed to the Skybreakers who believe that the law can be oppressive and misused. So basically
Of
they're the
course they
opposite
do.
of the darkness, the Herald of Justice.
That's
crazy.
hilarious.
That's really funny. So yeah, Lith then tells Darkness to try to deny that a desolation was here as she gestures out towards the storm. A group of parshmen are huddled out in the rain, and the red lightning seemed to stay with them, causing their eyes to glow red. Nail quietly denies this, but Lif tells him that he's failed. Something seems to change in Nail's eyes, and he says he has failed, and he begins weeping. Lif says that she is sorry, and he says that he wasn't always like this. He had gotten worse. Lif then hugs Darkness, and he hugs her back as she weeps. Or as he weeps. Suddenly he lets go and glows before flying up into the air, and Lift hurries back down to the stump. So this whole, like, he's gotten worse thing, I don't know if you remember, but in Words of Radiance during the prologue, I remind you at one point that we had seen Darkness there with what seems to be another male herald, as Yasna kind of runs into them briefly, and when she runs into them, the other herald, that we don't know who that is, was saying to Darkness, I think I've gotten worse. Do you think we're getting worse? And Darkness says, no, we're not getting worse. Ishar told me we weren't. So that's kind of him repeating, I am getting worse.
Ishar lied to you.
Apparently Ishar did lie to him.
Lied.
Because Ishar was apparently also the one who told him the desolation wasn't coming back.
Exactly.
Ishar's a fucking
All
liar.
Lies. All lies.
But yeah, so what did you think about Lift causing Darkness to realize that he was wrong about the coming desolation?
Repeat the question?
What did you think about Lift causing Darkness to realize that he was wrong about the coming desolation?
Oh. He had a Seth moment.
He did have a Seth moment. I mean, they're both mad. Apparently that's just what happens when you're crazy.
I wonder if they're gonna like bond now and become like lovers or something.
Oh gosh.
But it's not that big of an age gap, right?
Just
Yeah.
several thousand years.
Yeah, it's fine.
Not that big.
Also, where do you think Darkness went? Because he just flies off. We don't he's just like gone.
He went home.
Where's home?
Where the heart is.
Great, thank you.
Nice. Nice, Darkness.
Also, he just completely ditched Zeth. Zeth is just by himself now in Tashik.
And now Zeth can become what he's supposed to become.
A
The
bride.
destroyer of the world.
No, that's Nightblood.
Yeah, and who's wielding that Nightblood right now?
Nightblood. Nightblood is wielding Nightblood.
Oh,
Nightblood's in control.
Nightblood makes its own decisions.
Apparently. Apparently Nightblood's in control because it stopped Zeth from killing her. So
Nightblood's always in control.
unless it's Vasher.
Then we get chapter 20, which is basically our epilogue. And we find Lift sitting on the stump's dresser as she tells Wendell that it doesn't seem like he needs to be a sword. Wendell replies that he just needs to be something metal, but that a sword is traditional. Wendell then states that he wonders what he would look like as a sword. And when Lift states that he complained the whole day yesterday about not wanting to be a sword, he replies that he just wants to be displayed as a sword and not used. She then hears a knock downstairs and the stump talking quietly to someone. So what do you think about the Spren having to form into something made of metal?
Well, then doesn't he talk about how somehow some turned into bows?
Yeah, he's like, they turned into bows.
How did they
I don't
turn
know
into
what they did with
bows?
apparently
What?
they were metal bows with, he doesn't know what they used for a string.
Metal bow would never work.
Well, it's a
Yes,
metal
it would.
bow.
What was
Metal
that,
can
Darkness? You say metal?
It would. Metal can be pliable enough for that.
Can it?
Yes. There are metal bows.
There are indeed metal bows.
Interesting. The only thing I can think of was a crossbow, but yeah.
I was very interested in archery.
The string also metal? Maybe that's how they did it.
Yes.
Oh, there
String
you
can
go.
also be metal.
Oh, there. They don't need string.
So they don't have to carry string, like he said.
Yeah. Wendell just
Maybe
doesn't
the
know enough
Radiants
about
carried
it.
string.
Also
Maybe
metal
that's right.
arrows. So
They can also be the arrows.
Yeah, that actually kind of does. Yeah, that's weird. Would you just be shooting parts of your shard?
I mean,
Parts
it's
of your
gonna come
Spren, you
back
mean?
to you.
Let me shoot
Whatever,
my
yeah.
Spren's foot out as an arrow.
No, you gotta shoot the
eventually-
ear.
Eventually, it would be, no more Spren, though. You'd be
It'll
separated.
It'll come
as
back
Spren.
to you parts by parts.
Oh my god.
Yeah, maybe once the arrow shoots through something, it just disappears and forms back into another new arrow at the bow. But yeah,
What if you grab the ear of the Spren, make it an arrow, shoot at the enemy, and listen to them?
Oh my goodness.
that would be amazing. But yeah, my question was
Also, Hold on. I had this might be a
no,
little bit
here we go.
unrelated here. Right?
Here we go.
But I was like, it was like 4 a.m. and I was just thinking about this, right?
Okay.
And I was like, so Lopin's stump is regrowing, right?
Yeah.
So technically, would it be smooth if it regrows, or would it have hair, like body hair?
I'm assuming
And
it would
it,
start smooth, but it would be able to grow body hair.
right, but if it's like, is it like accelerated growing?
Yeah, well, we
Because
don't
if
know
that's
yet.
how
We only
that works,
I think it's gotta be a
if
little
that,
bit accelerated, because the fact that he saw, like, a little bit already grown within, like,
right,
just
right.
sucking in
But if
Stormlight.
that's how that works, what deems you to stop your head like hair from growing?
I mean, you probably could with Stormlight. But
Just
it
infinite
sounds like
hair.
I think the Stormlight is specifically like being targeted at like a specific part of the body.
No, right,
Generally.
but like if you absorb stormlight, right? In general, your body's gonna glow because that's the
Yes.
stormlight like entering your whole body. How are you just not like a big ball of fur?
To be fair, I think human hair tends to have like a growth limit when it starts to like break off and then have to regrow. There does tend to be like a limited length. That's why your leg hair never gets as long as like the head on top of your hair.
But then wouldn't
Or
you
hair on
also
top of your
have that
head.
same problem with your nails?
I don't. That would be a question for Brandon. That is not a question for me.
No, but that's how like
We
no,
gotta,
that's
go to
how
we gotta go to Dragon Con and talk to Brandon.
that's my general question with anyone that has like regenerative abilities and stuff like that. Like, how are you not just like growing in general?
I definitely think that when you get to a certain point of competency, you'd be able to specify when and when not to do things. But when you're first new at it, that's a very good question. When you don't know how to control it well yet.
This is my thoughts at like 4 in the morning.
That's why you're sleepless.
Yes.
Anyways, my actual question here is, what do you think about the fact that the Spren have to be made of something metal when they form?
It's always the
something
metals,
physical?
isn't it?
It's always metal.
What
Metal is something
type
in
of metal do you think it is?
the Brandon Sanderson kind.
Watch it be electric.
It is. So you remember how Ruin and Preservation had god metals?
Mhm.
The shard blades are made of the god metals of like an alloy of the god metals of honor and cultivation.
Uh-huh. So they all
So
have like
that's
metal
so just
pieces.
like because although metal
Silver.
is
It's all silver.
although metal is like a specific thing in Mistborn, the fact that the bodies of the powers became metal when they became like solid is a thing across the shards. So the shards can be in gas, liquid, and solid form, and when they're solid, they form metal. When they're liquid, that's the perpendicularity.
So it's metal liquid. Got it. Yeah. And
Yes.
then how is it in gas?
I'm assuming maybe the stormlight might be like I know because in Mistborn the mists are the gaseous form. I
Metal.
don't know if we've seen the like gas form of them yet here, unless stormlight is the gas form, which would make sense because basically the shards are full investiture, and that's why the so yeah. So I assume I think stormlight would have to be the gas form of Honor's powers. I believe. I think that's how that works. Make sense?
Yes. I hope.
So the Stump then comes upstairs with a plate of pancakes that she pretends were for her so that Lift would eat them. She tells Lift that Mick's mother came back for him because she knew he was faking, but then trails off, realizing that was wrong. Lift is surprised that Mick's mother came back for him, without even knowing he had been healed. The Stump eventually states out loud that she had been healing the kid somehow, and says her spren looks like light reflecting off of a mirror. So what do you think about the Stump being a truth watcher? She has the other healing. She's the other healing order.
What are you?
I'm a truth watcher, so I'm the same as the Stump, apparently.
Yeah. I mean, I can agree with that. She's definitely the same as the Stump.
I'm also the same as Renarin.
Yeah. Okay. Don't make yourself sound better, because
Okay.
I didn't.
Who the fuck is Renarin?
The kid.
The brother?
Yeah. The
Brother,
one kid.
Adolin's brother and Dalinar's other son. Remember, he shows
The
up at the
kid.
very end of Words of Radiance being like, I'm a truth watcher, I see.
I can see everything. That's my power. I see. Yeah. That guy.
He doesn't use his glasses anymore.
Yeah, because he sees.
Yes.
Oh my god, you wouldn't need your glasses.
I know, right?
Wait, why do you need your glasses then? Are you lying to us? Are you
I
actually?
haven't progressed far enough in my oath yet to heal my eyesight.
She's lying to herself like Shalon.
Yeah.
No, it's just
Pretty much.
it's the same as Kaladin's brands on his forehead. My eyesight just hasn't healed like that.
Yeah. Okay.
So Liv congratulates the Stump on being a Knight's Radiant, and when the Stump says she expected more majestic people, Liv summons Wendell as a shard fork, and uses it to eat some pancakes, although it stabs
Christ.
right through the plate and dresser.
I absolutely love her making it into a fork. That is hilarious.
Let's see if I can find a picture.
Of shard fork?
Of
Yes,
Lift in the
please.
shard fork.
Shard fork. Yay. Wait, what? This is shard fork. Oh, it is shard fork.
Shard
Cool.
fork.
Oh my god, it has so many teeth.
Why is it all floating? All the stuff, all the like.
I think that's supposed to be the syrup. I think it's just that she's grabbing it. The
It's just the
syrup's
art
like
style.
flowing off. Yeah, it's just the art style.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe she had like a power with food or something that we haven't learned yet.
Oh, I mean, technically.
And then this is what someone drew of how Lift would look with her shard fork if she was an adult.
Oh, so you're saying we never
It's a
see
trident.
her?
That's just a trident.
I know, right? Just a
I
giant
love
trident.
tridents. Tridents are cool.
Tridents
Yeah,
are
I
cool.
know. They're really cool in battle too.
Yeah, that's Lift with a giant shard fork.
With a trident. Yeah, with a
Shard
trident.
trident.
Got it. Yeah. Mhm.
It's a shard fork still. She's just bigger, so her fork gotta be bigger too.
Oh my god.
She's
yeah,
gotta eat
totally.
more.
So Genna, the overweight scribe, who seemed more important than Lift had first assumed, comes into the room with a spanry to connect Lift to Gox. Gox stated that the Empire was in chaos, but the winds weren't as strong as a high storm, so mostly only travelers were harmed. When Gox asks after Lift, she says she hasn't eaten enough pancakes and complains about a wart on her toe that she thinks she accidentally keeps healing to regrow whenever she cuts it off. Lift then asks about the final pancake she hadn't eaten, and is told the final pancake doesn't
My
exist,
God.
as it is left for their god. Lift is horrified by this and says she would have to tell Darkness to come back. She
Yep,
then
I agree.
she then
Murder
asks,
them all.
she then asks to go to the washroom, but instead sneaks out of the orphanage. Wendell asks if they're just going to wander off again, but Lift replies they're going back to see Gox and Azir. Wendell is excited as Lift says she needs to help out Gox and the Viziers, as she has learned that no one knows what they are doing. What do you think about the 10th pancake not existing?
Yeah, I was just as mad as she was.
Our whole reason for this book, obviously, was to find the 10 pancakes, and we did
Yep.
not get the final 10th pancake.
Yeah, because it doesn't exist. It's so stupid.
I just had a cursed thought.
What?
What?
So you know how her thing is eating for Stormlight, right?
Yeah.
Do you think she would get more Stormlight if she ate a Surge Binder?
Yes.
I don't
yes,
know.
You would.
Cannibalize the Surge Binder?
I mean, like,
Wait, what if she goes into the cognitive realm and eats the Spren there? How much energy? Because they're like more like physical in the cognitive realm,
yeah.
'cause that's where they live. So what if she went in there and ate a Spren? I feel like that would give her
Huh.
so much power.
At that point, she would ascend.
She just becomes honor.
I need to take this picture and make it into a character now.
What,
She
the
becomes
Lift with the
gluttony.
giant shard fork?
Yeah, with the trident. Yep.
Well, there is
Not
a
a fork,
Stormlight
it has-
RPG coming
First
out.
off, wait, it's not a fork, and it's also not a trident because it has 5 points,
It
not
does
3.
have 5. What's the word?
What the hell?
What's the thing for 5? Penta? It's a pentafork.
Oh my
A
god.
Pen Titan.
Pendant. It's a pendant. Oh gosh. Also, what do you think about Lift deciding to go back to Azir?
Okay, never mind. It is a it's a trident.
Mhm.
Tridents do have 5.
I guess it's just the 3 main ones.
Well, pitchforks are the ones that have 3, right?
No, Pitchforks has 4.
No, they
Fork.
don't.
So it's a fork. Pitchfork. They have 4. Forks specifically have 4. That's why they're called fork.
Yeah.
Yeah, pitchforks have
Pitchfork,
4.
Oh, it literally says 2 to 5 for me. Okay. I've always seen pitchforks that have 3, but okay.
That's not a true
I mean,
pitchfork then. It's
yeah,
a pitch
I mean,
trident.
It's a hay fork. It's a hay
Or
fork.
just wait. I'm so confused.
There's
Yeah, so
so many different types of pitchforks. I don't know what you're talking about.
anyways, what do you think about Lift deciding to go back to Azir?
What year?
Azir.
Yeah, Azir. What year?
What's wrong with Nate?
Yeah.
On Lift's way out of the city, she threw a pancake at Haka. and then used all of her
I
stormlight,
love it. We do this to her so much. I love it.
and then used all of her stormlight to heal the people waiting in line to get into the city. Wendell says it was very nice of her to do that, and Lift just says that a better Radiant might have stayed and healed everyone in the city. However, Lift felt like something bigger was coming, and she needed to get back to Azir. Wendell then
No,
asks
she
if
needs to get to Yasna and all of them over there.
she needs to get to Earthiriu.
Yep, 100%.
Yeah, to urethra.
Remember, there's a lot of Oath Gates apparently around. Maybe she can find an Oath Gate and get there.
What if she is an Oath Gate?
She is the Oath Gate.
What if she's just like eating and then all that food is getting transported to all the fucking spren in the
What if she's just a battery for Stormlight?
Wendell then asks if he was a regal fork, and Lift laughs and says she thinks he might not be a Voidbringer after all.
Which is the craziest thing I've ever heard.
So our overview questions are: what did you think of List's story overall?
I like Lift and Wendell, but they're just the favorite of so far.
And not Zeth?
Until Zeth does something really cool. Right now he's just a little bitch.
Damn. What did you think of Lift's story?
Hey, I mean,
Darkness?
Darkness left him now. He has all his life to do things now with this awesome sword. So
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure he'll become my favorite again.
What did you think, Darkness, of Lift's story?
I like Wendell.
Also, what implications do you think Nail's revelation will have for Oathbringer? So the fact that Nail now believes that the Desolation has come, what do you think that's going to mean for Oathbringer, the next book? Well, the next Stormlight book, not our next book.
We got another year to read that until we read that. So
He's also probably gonna pull up and be like, "Hey, time to help you, I guess, because we fucked up."
I don't think he's gonna help them. I think he's an evil bastard.
He's like, "Nah, I can't go through this again. I'm joining the dark side."
He's gonna go to Earthier to have his existential crisis like Zeth did, and then he's gonna be like, why the fuck are there people here?
Oh, you're right. Well, what if that's where Zeth goes?
Maybe. We don't know what the fuck Zeth is gonna do now. He's been ditched.
Nobody wants him.
Nightblood wants
Where's
him.
the stone?
Nightblood wants him.
I think he got rid of the stone because he's not truthless anymore. I think technically Teravangian actually still has it, because he never went and got it back as far as we know.
I wonder what Teravangian thinks now that Zeth hasn't returned.
And Dalinar's not dead.
I'm just waiting for him to go murder him.
Do you think Lift will be a bigger part of the coming books, since it seems like she's going to be hanging out with Gox, who is Emperor of Azir?
Yes. I think she's gonna go meet Dalinar and all of them. Same with Zeth. I think Zeth is also going to.
We gotta unite all the Radiants.
Yeah. Unite the Radiance. That's the whole goal of Dalinar. What about?
Unite them. What does it truly mean?
To unite them.
No, they're trying to unite the heralds. Except
yeah, they're gonna all like hook up. Like they're all gonna like hook together like Voltron.
What if you get a herald, right? You get a sleepless. Yeah, one of every kind, and you just like all make them breed until they make one single kind of every kind, and then they end up with a super child.
Interesting. So yeah, that is the end of Edgedancer. Thank you so much to our Patreons, Kyle, Hubris, and Calden Dies in Book 3. Thank you so much for
Best name ever.
Thank you so much for listening. And we are going to do our Alloy of Law trailer next. Bye!
Bye.